E aí pessoal, bem-vindo ao canal do Senhor Me Gusta Gamers. E eu estou trazendo para vocês o vídeo aleatório de sábado, galera. E hoje eu estou trazendo a Parábula de Stanley, galera. E é o seguinte, falaram desse jogo pra mim, eu achei interessante. A história desse jogo, parece que você é um funcionário que sempre faz a mesma coisa, aquele funcionário que sempre tá ali fazendo a mesma coisa. E num dia você tá lá trabalhando de boa e os funcionários da sua empresa que trabalham junto com você desaparecem e você precisa descobrir o porquê. Parece ser um jogo interessante, um jogo assim que é mais assim focado numa história do dia a dia da nossa aí. E eu decidi trazer aí, como é o vídeo aleatório de sábados, vamos ver o que vai acontecer. Vocês sabem que os vídeos aleatórios de sábado sempre traz alguma novidade estranha aí pro canal. Então vamos ver o que vai correr aqui. Clique para escapar. Ah, tá em português, tá, galera? Eu traduzi ele.
In a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, of every month, of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-winning, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Tá, a gente é bem um robô, né? Pelo que eu entendi.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ok, estou no comando aqui. Tá, pelo que entendi, a gente tem a narrativa do narrador, né? A narrativa do narrador foi foda. E vamos ver o que vai rolar. Não sei muito o que precisa fazer. Não tem nada.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Tem nada aqui? Opa! Mexer um computador aqui.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Tá, esse narrador tá de palhaçada com a minha cara, né? E onde eu tenho que ir? Eu consigo mexer nas coisas, legal. Consigo desligar isso aqui? Eu desliguei outro computador, velho. Tá, onde eu tenho que ir, velho? Tem que continuar reto aqui? Vamos ver. Tem um aparelho. Tá fechado. Tá fechado. Tá fechado também. Opa.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Tá, pelo que eu entendi, a gente vai ter que decidir em seguir o que ele tá falando e não seguir o que ele tá falando. E agora? Vamos fazer o seguinte, vamos seguir o que ele tá falando e ver o que vai rolar. Outra... Caraca, fecharam a porta aí. Não tem ninguém, cara, que bagulho sinistro. Nada, nada, nada. Tá, sala de reunião, chegamos.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Tá ok, né? Se ele tá falando. Uou! O bagulho mudou bem na hora, velho. Tá, vamos lá. Para, cara, não fecha as portas atrás de mim assim. Opa! Tem uma coisa aqui?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Não tá, né? Se ele tá falando. Tá.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Vamos seguir o que ele tá falando? E vamos ver o que vai dar. Eu acho que eu tô fazendo errado. Não era me seguir o que ele tá falando não, velho. Nossa, que sala bonita. Vai fechar de novo? Hã? Eu virar as costas e fechou. Ah, agora não. Filha da mãe. Que é a sala do chefe. Mas não tem ninguém aqui, velho. O que eu vim fazer aqui? Para de fechar as portas!
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Ele me falou.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code.
Sim.
By
Fechou
sheer
tudo,
luck.
cara. Ferrou.
Amazing. He stepped
Opa,
into
abriu
the
um negócio
newly
aqui.
opened passageway.
E agora? Só tem aqui pra mim ir, né? Cara, que bagulho louco, velho. Bem doido isso aqui, hein? Caraca, meu irmão. Joguinho maníaco. E agora? Nossa senhora. Tá, não tô entendendo nada, velho. Só tô falando o que o narrador tá falando. Tô fazendo o que o narrador tá falando. Caraca, meu irmão. Joguinho bem doidão. Eu acho que eu fiz errado. Acho que eu não devia acompanhar o que o narrador fala, velho. Devia ter feito tudo ao contrário do que o narrador fala. Acho que aí sim ficaria bom.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Tá, então tá, né? Bagulho louco, velho. Sinistro isso aqui, ó.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Instalações de controle mental. Olha o naipe disso aqui, velho. Opa! Tem negócio escape aqui, velho. E agora, hein? Tá. É uma ideia aí pra gente fazer depois, hein? Já fecharam a porta nas minhas costas, né? Que bagulho louco, velho. E aí?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Não sei, cara. Eu quero... E aí? Não tô entendendo. Ah, não. Tem aqui, ó. Abriu aqui pra mim. Vamos ver qual é que é. Bem feitinho, cara. Gostei. Tá, temos xícaras aqui. Nada de um botão. Vamos apertar o botão então, né?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Matrix agora, né, velho? Que isso, meu irmão? Tá, e esse botão aqui? Pra que serve esse botão? Olha que louco, velho. Tem tudo aqui, ó. Tem um fire. Caraca, meu irmão. Que negócio louco, velho. Vamos apertar esse botão aqui pra ver qual é que é.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Tá, eu acho que eu tô sendo comandado, na verdade.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Que controles? Será que é isso aqui? Tem um botão aqui, ó. Não dá pra me apertar ele, não. Achei que dava. Negócio número 5 aqui. Cara, eu não sei o que precisa fazer. Eu tô com medo de entrar ali e não for aquilo pra fazer, entendeu? Esse botão aqui. Tá, vamos entrar aqui. Fecha a porta, vai. Você não gosta de fechar? Olhando pra ela não fecha, né?
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Tá, vamos desligar então. Caraca, velho, o que aconteceu? Meu Deus. Caraca, meu irmão. O que houve? Ih. Eu tô me mexendo.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Caraca, velho.
He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
E se eu não entrar, velho? Tem outra coisa pra fazer? Tá, eu segui tudo que ele falou. Vamos continuar seguindo, né? Já que eu...
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant
Eu acho que
to
o narrador me enganou, velho, mas tudo bem.
be. And Stanley was happy.
Caraca. Vai falar que acabou o jogo. Beat the game. Conquista alcançada. Legal, consegui uma conquista. E aí? Eita! Voltei aqui. Caraca, meu irmão.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Tá.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Só que agora eu vou fazer o contrário, meu irmão. Eu vou ir ao contrário do que ele tá falando. Tudo que ele falar, eu vou fazer ao contrário.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Tá. Sala dos funcionários. Provavelmente é essa. Tá, não tem mais nada pra fazer? Eu não quero ir. Eu não quero fazer o que ele tá falando, velho. Droga. Ele me prendeu aqui. Eu acho que eu entendi o que é, velho. Ele vai falando, a gente tem escolhas ou não para fazer. Só que todas as portas estão trancadas, então a gente vai ter que entrar aqui.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Não vou ficar parado aqui não, vou sair.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Não.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
O cara já tá me zoando já, velho. Tá. Estou num lugar diferente aqui agora, hein. Que eu preciso de um cartão. Ok.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this
Ele vai me
time.
levar pra lá.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten
Cacete.
about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Não tô com vontade não, velho. Quero fazer o contrário do que você tá falando.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Pode deixar.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Pode deixar.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Pode deixar, meu irmão.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see?
Eita.
There's nothing here.
Tem
I
nada
haven't
aqui.
even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me.
As
You've given
ideias
me
desse cara,
absolutely
velho. Ele é
nothing
meio que o
so
desenvolvedor
far.
do jogo.
Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design and you can give me some feedback. There we go.
Eita.
A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
E se eu não for, velho? Eu não tô com vontade de ir. Esse aí é o... Ah, vamos ver, vai. O que vai rolar?
Okay,
Eita.
I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Eu vou dar 4.
Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Eita. Tá mudando a situação aqui, hein? E aí, eu entro ou não entro, velho? Ah... Vamos entrar. Nossa, cara, tem muita possibilidade nesse game aqui. Opa, mudou
Now,
aqui.
would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please.
Dá 3.
Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Nossa, carregou. O que ele tá falando, velho? Ele me mandou pra um novo jogo, é isso?
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice.
Não vou
But of
apertar, vou
course,
deixar.
the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Ah, nem ferrando que eu vou fazendo isso. Ele quer que eu faça isso por 4 horas, velho. Falou,
You
bebê.
heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here?
As ideias, velho,
This
desse
seems
jogo,
like it'll
mano.
work. Let's give it a shot.
Por que eu tô jogando isso e carregando de novo? Acho que vai mudar de jogo. Isso que eu fui só uma segunda opção, fui ao contrário dele. Caraca, meu irmão. Ih, Minecraft.
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley.
As ideias, cara, ele ficou com Minecraft no game, velho. Só
Well,
que eu não
I'll say
consigo fazer
this,
nada, não consigo
I'm
pular.
done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house.
Ai, caramba, o que tá acontecendo?
This will go here. No, here. And then...
Ah, ele tá fazendo aqui. Meu Deus.
Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course. And just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy.
As ideias, velho.
But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
Não, não tô com vontade não, velho. Não vou entrar. Só que nada vai acontecer se eu não entrar, né? É bem isso, né? E aí, meu irmão? Eu não quero entrar. O que é aí? Você é Deus? Só pode, né? Caraca, velho. Eu vou ter que entrar nessa porcaria. Eu quero fechar a porta aqui fora. Então tá, né? Eu não consigo entrar. Entrei. Entrei e nada acontece. Eu não consigo entrar. Ih, acabou o jogo.
Isn't it grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes, yes, yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
As ideias, velho. What the fuck? Que game louco, velho. Só que eu não consigo pular, só caio. Ih, tô entrando na caverna, hein?
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light?
Não. Nenhuma. Só que eu queria pular ali e não consigo. Se eu cair... Ah, tem carvão aqui, velho. Carvão é importante pra gente. Eu não vou conseguir subir de novo. Nice.
Oh, no, 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 no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Caraca, ele saiu a hora que eu tô... Ah, filha da mãe, velho. Tinha ouvido o barulho de Enderman e o barulho de zumbi. Caraca, velho. Esse jogo aqui tem coisa pra fazer pelo jeito, hein? E aí? Que isso?
Yes! I don't even know what
Portal,
this game is,
velho. Eu
but
não
I
acredito
love
nisso.
it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Portal, velho. Ninguém merece Portal. Caraca, meu irmão, Portal.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte.
Tá, isso aqui eu manjo, hein?
Genius.
Tá,
No,
entendi.
actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wiser for the experience. Which is why, rather than continue to waste my time, I'm just going to leave you here. You can pretend you've beaten the game if it makes it any richer for you, but as for me, I've had enough. So, why don't you get cozy in this room, and if you have any grand revolutionary ideas for the perfect video game, you can just sit there and let it ball up inside you for all eternity. I don't need your advice. I don't need your ratings. And I certainly don't need the validation of a man
Filha
whose job
da
is to
mãe,
push
velho.
buttons. I think I'll just go about my business, making meaningful cultural contributions to the world. And perhaps every now and then, I'll think back to a man named Stanley who was objectively wrong in every decision he ever made. The thought won't last long. Goodbye, Stanley. Good luck with your work. And I sincerely hope that everyone lives happily ever after.
Cara, eu não quero cair lá, velho. Filho da mãe, deixou eu preso aqui, velho. Ah não, só pode ser zoeira, né? Eu sou o primeiro homem que não consegue pular. Cara, e aí? Eu não quero pular, velho. Vou ter que pular, eu vou morrer. Olha lá, eu vou morrer, velho. Certamente eu vou morrer. É muito alto. E aí? Então tá, né? What the fuck? Eu não morri. Eu não morri, eu não morri. Caraca, velho. É uma parte que não tá construída ainda. Olha isso, meu irmão. Eu caí de novo. Eu acho que não era muito ter feito isso. What the fuck, velho? E agora, velho? Pra que lado eu vou, hein? Ele deixou sozinho mesmo. Tá, aqui não dá pra me passar. Não dá pra me entrar nessa porta. Ou aqui, essa aqui é maior, né? Caraca, velho. É como se fosse uma parte assim do game não desenvolvida, sabe? E tá escuro demais, não tô nem enxergando aqui certinho. Ok, aqui não tem nada. Nossa, cara, tá muito escuro. Tá, ok. Vamos andar um pouco mais aqui, né? Ah, eu tô chegando na minha sala. É, eu tô chegando na minha sala, velho. Quatro, dois, sete. Minha sala essa aqui, não é? Mas não tem nada aqui na minha sala. Muito legal isso. Não tem nada. Ai, caramba!
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's
Eu acho que ele acabou comigo, velho.
That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
Caraca, velho, as ideias. Só pode ser zoeira, velho. E aí? Opa, aconteceu. Mais um. E aí, velho? E aí? Joguinho louco, joguinho uma mania com esse joguinho, velho. Ah, velho, você tá de brincadeira, eu voltei. What the fuck, eu voltei, velho. Caraca, tá de brincadeira. E as mesmas coisas? Opa. Mudou aqui, velho.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible it wasn't 5 years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Ah, tá de brincadeira, né?
Really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Ah, voltou de novo. Bom, galera, mas é isso. Espero que vocês tenham curtido esse vídeo. É um jogo bem estranho mesmo. E assim, galera, capaz que eu traga de novo mais pra frente aí, da Stanley Parable. E com outros finais, porque eu acho que tem bastante coisa aí pra gente fazer, né? Bastante coisa diferente. Bom, galera, mas se vocês gostaram, não esqueçam de deixar um like aí. Se vocês adoraram, favorite o vídeo. E se é a primeira vez que vocês estão vendo o canal, se inscrevam nele, galera, que assim vocês ajudam demais na divulgação do vídeo. Bom, espero que vocês tenham curtido esse jogo louco aí. É um jogo aleatório de sábado, vocês estão sabendo já que eu trago sempre um joguinho diferente no sábado. E espero realmente que vocês tenham curtido. Eu vou ficando por aqui então, galera. Fico, meu abraço e até mais. Fui, pessoal!